mainline girl and I just reset the virtual cabin. What that means is I'm starting from square one again in order to give you a walkthrough. Let's see. But this is kind of boring because we can't collect anything yet. But this is how the cabin was originally done. And it was created to promote the game.
Okay, so did you want to do an intro?
Hello. Welcome to the Virtual Cabin. I'm Chuck Brengard, CEO of Ilphonic, and we are the developers behind Friday the 13th, the game, which you are currently playing now.
Well, that's kind of a given.
Sure. I just want to say thanks for playing and supporting the game. Our fan base has been incredible. This project has exceeded even our wildest dreams, and that's because of all your continued and amazing support.
So where are we?
So this is the Virtual Cabin, 2.0 to be exact. The Virtual Cabin was a way for our backers to check out new art assets and discover a few hidden Easter eggs as we were building the game.
Okay, this novel looks a lot like Star Wars: A New Hope.
At what we were developing.
So, why bring it back?
A ton of work went into researching the Friday the 13th films for the game, and we wanted to present a fun way to go behind the scenes and learn more about how the movies in the game were made. Consider this as an expanded virtual museum, a space where you can explore the lore of Friday the 13th and take it all in. Who knows? There might even be a few new Easter eggs to discover. If you go digging deep enough. Sorry, I didn't mean for that to sound so ominous.
Yeah, as part of the Kickstarter campaign, there was a tier where you could be put into the game. And he does have good stealth and repair. Personally, I prefer Debbie. But it just depends on your preference. Well, you can see a little bit of the lake. And looks like someone has a fire. And I would not be that close to the lake if I was that guy. Oh yeah, this is locked. So I think we're just stuck in the cabin. Okay. That's right, the doublemint trends were in one of the movies. And yeah, in Jason Goes to Hell, you don't get much screen time with Jason. And, well, more or less the opening part of it, the FBI deciding that Jason is a threat, has an agent pretend to be a camper. Or maybe she's a counselor. I don't think they ever specified what they were having her do. But they used her as bait to lure Jason out so they could blow him up. And they are successful. But not really. You'll have to watch the movie to find out. Yeah, they put a lot of work into this. Okay, I want to correct something. The TV series had the same name, but it had nothing to do with Jason or the Friday the 13th movies, other than the name. Yeah, that is one of the more unusual films in the franchise. Right next to Jason X and Freddy vs. Jason, to a lesser extent. And the reason I'm not reading these is part of them do have last names that I cannot pronounce, and I would not want to insult these people because they do good work and they are very very talented, and I don't want to be the idiot on YouTube that butchers their name terribly. Okay, and actually having a series where the story changed from movie to movie, the the is actually, I want to say it was common or it was an idea, and apparently it could have been the Friday 13th too as well. Now, the Prom Night series is probably the closest I've heard of a horror movie series to do that. On the flip side, we really don't hear much about it. I know they did attempt a reboot with a new story. Another example is the Halloween series. And I know the first two were the story of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. And then if you see most marathons on Halloween, you'll notice they skip the third movie. The reason for this is Michael Myers only appeared in a cameo on a TV set in a commercial for Halloween the movie. In that movie, Halloween 3 actually had more of a it was definitely a different feel in that it did involve masks, but instead of being a mask killer, you could say that the killer was the mask. But had that movie been successful, the fourth one was supposed to be a ghost story. At least that's what I've been told. Now the third one is criticized because Michael Myers is not the killer. So let's see. Yeah, this is Jason's niece. And I'm not sure if this scene is correct. Nick Savage. Good name for a biker gang member. Yeah, yeah, something's not right with that. And let's see. Yeah, this advertised the spring clothing pack, well, spring break clothing pack, which was more or less swimsuits. Now, they did do another DLC pack with Halloween costumes. Though I'm kind of surprised they never done a done a well, actually I think it would be cool if they had done a winter holiday one. Particularly because I think it would be kind of creepy to see Jason in a Santa Claus hat. Okay, we can't. Oh, photographs. Okay, I actually think this is another YouTuber. He does a lot of Friday 13th videos. Pretty sure this is Sleeved Biker. Do not quote me on this. Do not bug him. You do not want to make him mad. And let's see what else I know. Okay, and the guy on the right is Kane Hodder, and he has been Jason more than anyone else. Now, the guy on the left, I actually have no idea who he is, but he does have good taste in t-shirts. And I think some of these are other backers of the game, as well as the developers. Okay, the red bandana. Now, if you've never watched the original Friday 13th, if you've never watched the original Friday 13th, then you don't know that Jason was not the original killer. He was killed. Well, he was drowned in Crystal Lake, and apparently Steve is the son of Crystal Lake's former owners. And, he decided to renovate the camp and reopen it. But when he done that, he brought back someone who had changed the camp name into Camp Blood. And, if you think about it, well, and actually Steve does die in that movie. So, if he hadn't decided to do that, he might have lived. And Crystal Lake would not be alternately called Camp Blood. And we wouldn't be watching Friday the 13th movies. Jenny Myers, Girl Next Door. I will say that she's not that bad a character to play, but I've never survived a match as her. I mean, her stats are not that well. I think they're more balanced, but like I said, I've never survived as her, so I've had a lot more luck with Debbie. And also, if you're into the idea of killing Jason, which is very hard to do, in a later video I may explain how you can do it if there is interest in it. But part of it, you have to get a sweater, and not just any sweater, Mrs. Voorhees' sweater in Jason's shack. And only female counselors can use it. And that is a heavy reference to part 2. Okay, and Shelly and his mom. The guy who played Shelly, and is also the guy who kind of gives Jason his mask. Apparently this is a photo that was in his wallet during filming, and at one point it was dropped in a puddle. It's been a while since I've seen part 3, so it may have been the lake, I'm not 100% sure. But apparently this was a photo that was in his wallet when it happened, and he ended up giving this photo to his mom, and she put it on her refrigerator, but eventually it was scanned and put into the game. Also, another fun fact about the guy who played Shelly. He got out of the acting business and he became a lawyer. And someone forgot to do dishes, and they left a knife out. Yeah, part of the interest in Jason is, in a way, he is a campfire story. And his story does change from movie to movie a little bit. In the first one, he is supposed to have been drowned. In the second one, turns out that's not the case. And pretty much after that, he just keeps coming back. And is just, I'm not going to spoil anything because he has been revived so many ways, including some ways that are never explained. Okay, while this was not used in a Friday the 13th film, it was used in Last House on the Left. Oh, come on, there are better references to Jason Takes Manhattan than this apple. I promise you. Well, gotta admit, it was nice of Jason to give him a corkscrew, but if you ask for Jason for favors, don't expect to survive. Yeah, a lot of the people who've played Jason have been stuntmen. And it does make sense because, they can take a beating and they are typically very strong. And you gotta love how they had, try to mimic actual products without really come out and saying it. And Julius, yeah, this is still not a good reference to Jason Takes Manhattan, but, if you are going to take on Jason, I would suggest having some kind of firearm or a good melee weapon. Do not try boxing him. Yeah, the character Julius actually lost his head from doing that. Quite literally. Oh yeah, and one of the weapons you can use in the game is pans, but these aren't clickable. Yeah, pretty much every actor who played Jason after Kane Hodder had big shoes to fill. I will say that although it seems obvious to go to the car, especially in the game, it's not always the best idea in horror movies. Because, for one, they tend to stall. Two, you always lose your keys at the worst time. Three, the windows are glass and they are breakable. So you're not exactly safe in a car. And then again, there's always the convertibles. Now, in the game, in order to use the cars, you need to first get a battery and fill up the gas tank. And third, you need to find the key, or a key. Which if you're not going to use them, just pick them up and they will appear on the map for someone else to find. Just be a little courteous. Also, driving the car is a little difficult, and Jason can stop the car, as you saw in my previous video. And like I said, they made better references to Jason Takes Manhattan in this game, this poster would have been better than the Big Apple. Yeah. Oh yeah, in part 2, Jason was actually played by at least 4 people, including a woman. Well, sort of, at least the part of Jason's feet at the beginning. I'll get to the computer in a few minutes. And of all the films, only 4 have been released on Friday the 13th. And here's Chad and Bugsy. Now, Bugsy is based on Julius. So, yeah, he's the one that gets his head knocked off. Yeah, originally, Final Friday was supposed to be the last one, but obviously that did not happen. And there was even supposed to be actually, there is a musical cue called Muerte de Jason. Well, in Spanish that translates to Death of Jason. But like I said, it was not the last film. He got revived yet again. And actually, I think in part 5, we got a different killer, or a copycat killer. Let's see. Yeah, they never really explained how there are how Crystal Lake will lead to Manhattan. Yes, safe and wholesome graduate parties. Who are they kidding? At least it was animal friendly though. But you gotta love all the little details they done. Yeah, Long Night at Camp Blood is kind of a mouthful. I'm glad they went to Friday the 13th. this is a old-fashioned television set and VCR. And here are some various masks. Okay, that's actually Roy's mask. And here are some signs with various cabins on them. Yet another better New York reference than the apple. And that's actually another campground and a playing area. There's the rifle. It is the most powerful weapon against Jason in that it stuns him the longest. Unfortunately, I have a hard time being accurate on that. And, okay, if you find these in drawers, definitely pick them up. If Jason catches you, I realize it's not that useful against a machete, but you can still stab him with it if he grabs you and run. And I have been lucky enough to get 3 of them one time. Let's see. Oh yeah, they're also very good to have. You know, they distract Jason, and they actually do stun him too. Yeah, they're very good to have. Now, I would choose the pocket knife over the firecrackers, but if you can have one of each, I go for that. Okay. And this is med spray. It does heal you, but well, yeah, that's the basic purpose. It does heal you, which is good if you are injured because you do move more slowly. And it does give you more points. Okay, in the game, this actually can stun Jason, but it also will give his location away for a few moments on the map. Yeah, one ongoing theme in the Friday 13th series is they do make references to the Long Night at Camp Blood, by writing Blood over Crystal Lake. Okay, here's some weapons you can use in the game. The pipe. You know, it is a melee weapon, and while it's not the best, you really can't be too picky, especially at the beginning of the game, and even later on. Another one is the bat. Oh, before I forget, Jason, well, the capture of Jason's kills was done by Kane Hodder. Like I said, you can use pots and pans. Kinda wish they'd given us a knife, though. Other than the pocket knife. Yeah, you do have an axe. Jason does have a spear. Oh yeah, and Jason does have bear traps, but you can also use them too. I normally set them up around doors that I've already barricaded. And then I'll hide. And what that does is if Jason comes by and he decides, wow, that cabin looks like it's occupied. Let's see if I can scare somebody. Breaks down the door. Bear trap. And it gives me a minute to run away. And make him mad at the same time. But it is a good distraction, especially in the cabins where there's only one door. Oh, and you do have to radio for Tommy Jarvis. And Tommy did appear in 3 movies, even though he was played by 3 different actors. Gotta wonder if he was actually Tom Savini's self-insert character, especially with his interest in masks. Okay, I realize he's a killer, but that is disrespectful. Zombies in space. Why do I think a bunch of Walking Dead fans would love that? Yeah, originally they were going to do a bunch more, but they could only get the rights to Jason. And I don't know. I think it would have been interesting to see their take on the characters. Now, I realize some of them have appeared in Dead by Daylight, but I, for one, would have loved to see what they would have done with Freddy, what they would have done with Leatherface, Michael Myers, Ghostface. Hmm. Okay, and one more thing about Fox, who was played by Gloria Charles. You know, she actually does appear as a counselor in the game, and that is her actual voice. Now, unfortunately, she has passed away, or she passed away before the game. So, well, long before the game. But they had all these old voice recordings, and they used the voice recordings in the game. So in a way, if you see her on the field, she's not a fox, she's a ghost. Yeah, in part 2, they do find a dead dog, and it is thought that Jason done it, but it's never confirmed. I'm also going to say that is that it is continually confusing because the dog they suspect it is shows up at the very end of the movie alive. Yeah, Jason never used a chainsaw. That was Roy in part 5. Yeah, Jason also did a couple at least one talk show for Jason Takes Manhattan. That being said, he didn't say anything the entire time. Yeah, there's never been a Friday the 13th without a machete showing up somewhere. Man, it's kind of surprising that no one's been hurt in any of these films, or hurt very badly. I don't think I've ever seen any pickaxes in the game, or at least not used by the counselors. But it's been a while since I played too, so I'm hoping that there's enough interest that we can have some decent matches. Yeah, he didn't get his hockey mask until part 3. In the second movie, he wore a sack, which is similar to the Phantom in The Town That Dreaded Sundown. And part 6 is the one where there are children at the camp. Yeah, there was some hinting that Tommy would have taken over the reins, possibly, after the final chapter. Eventually, they decided to go another way with that. Okay, I think that's it for now. Oh yeah, I wanted to show the computer. Alright, let's check for updates. Well, what do you expect the password to be? She's probably his favorite person. Okay. Alright, that's it for part 1. Part 2, we are going to explore the cabin again, and we will be collecting items and hopefully be able to find a secret door and maybe even get out of this place. Have a good night and pleasant dreams. Then again, we haven't seen anything too scary yet.